DMs of Reddit, what's a very simple riddle that your players took way too long on? I made a quick dungeon and used one of the easy puzzles in the back of the DMG. The puzzle replaced a ballroom floor with a word search puzzle. The answers to the puzzle were the different schools of magic. Finding the answers provided them safe passage across the ballroom, while wrong answers would trigger a trap based on the school of magic. Now, there was a hint that pointed them to find the schools of magic, and they figured that out pretty quickly, but the word search itself seemingly took forever. I never had the heart to tell them I took the puzzle from the easy section of the DMG. I'm just glad they had fun figuring it out. Not so much a riddle as a puzzle, but it fits the bill. I've mentioned this on here before, but it's a good one. The party was in a dungeon devised by an eccentric silver dragon. Rather than having doors, each room was linked by 12-sided crystals. To access another room, you had to find the crystal and then roll it, which then resulted in a real-life D12 roll to determine the next room. One room contained nothing but a table covered in a floor-length tablecloth. On top of it were a silver and obsidian chess set, a plain wooden mirror, a set of ornate pince-nez, a clockwork bird, a crystal goblet, and 3 small bottles of liquid, 1 green, 1 red, and 1 blue. The crystal was hidden under the table, concealed by the tablecloth. The players were stuck for some time, and in the end, I made one of the vials a potion of X-ray vision. If not for that, they may have been stuck for even longer, and also possibly killed me. A heavy, unlocked door needed a total combined strength of 20 or more to pull open. The door was big enough for 2 characters to pull together. When you pull, it seems like it moved a little. The character with 18 strength almost managed it. Seems like you need a little more strength. No, when you push, it doesn't budge. Well, maybe if someone gave you a hand? No, the mage hand doesn't do anything. Oh, you're tying a rope to it. Nice! Is your party going to help you pull? No? You just want to open it at a distance. Okay then. Hey, if you take 1 point of fatigue, you could add just enough strength to open it. Wink, wink. You know what? At this point, I just gave up and told them. I took this one from Undertale. I had a word search puzzle I copied from the internet and printed onto parchment paper, making it look weathered. When the party arrived at a locked door, I told them that there was a piece of paper attached to the door. The trick, of course, is that the word search is a distraction. Anyone who wasn't immediately distracted could roll a perception check to realize the door behind them was slowly and silently sealing itself, giving them time to prepare for an ambush that would happen in about a minute. The word search did contain relevant keywords to the dungeon. However, such as cadaver, sarcophagus, and inferno, hinting at the mummy guarding the final room. I also throw in beholder and minotaur as red herrings to further distract them. Every time I used this puzzle, the whole party insisted on actually finishing the word search. The empty room of a riddle tower. They started at the top after being teleported there. Every floor had its own riddle. If they passed it, a way down opened, and once everyone went through, the way back closed immediately. After a couple of hard riddles, I thought I'd be a nice DM and give them an empty room so they could rest and do a little roleplay. The riddle was that all members just had to go into the room. I was so glad when we played online because I had to mute myself. It was hilarious. They opened some kind of hatchway down. The first character got halfway down the ladder and saw the empty room with some skeletons in it. They had encountered dangers along the way, so they were naturally cautious, as you should be. For the next 2 or 3 hours, though, I laughed so much. They tried everything, using backpacks to check for traps on the floor, one character doing the Mission Impossible rope trick, and countless other things. The only thing they didn't want to do was what they needed to. Just walk in. I could feel their fear. Their conversations were so funny, and that session became my favorite of all time. Many, many years ago, the adventuring party came to the tower of a long-dead wizard to search for treasures. After slaying giant ants, icky, they found themselves before the dark gates of enchanted black iron, just at the beginning of their quest. On the gate was a gargoyle head that spoke to them. Just say the magic word and enter. The riddling began and continued. How should they know? Had they missed a hint before? Oh, what an unfair riddle. I sat there more and more amazed as they never once in the whole discussion and riddling, not even once, used the phrase, magic word. Maybe I had just read Lord of the Rings and wanted a real easy riddle for the start. The players entered a room with 4 different colored orbs at one end and a pentagon inside a circle etched on the floor at the other. The circle had lyrics on it. You'll see grass in dark where it can't grow, and the sun where it isn't shining, and the stars where they don't glow, and you'll hear songs when there's no singing. That's how you'll know. The words grass, sun, stars, song, and you each matched up to a point, and there were small divots at each point, just the right size for an orb. There was a yellow orb with sunlight, a green one that smelled of grass, one with blue starlight, and a red one that was quietly singing. It took them the better part of an hour to figure out that the orbs matched the words on the circle, and another half hour to figure out that the you part meant one of them had to stand at that point. After that, a fire orb dropped into their hands, letting them burn down a wall made of meat that had previously blocked them. I tested the puzzle on my 6-year-old before I gave it to the players, and he literally solved it in under 5 minutes. Even though he did struggle to read the lyrics because of the fancy font in a circle, of course. These days, I still get my kid to test run anything I'm not sure the players will get, but I always assume it'll take them an hour longer than it takes him. Now, in all fairness, he's very motivated to be smarter and better at D&D than grown-ups. Aw, how cute. A long corridor with faces and bodies almost imprinted in the ceilings and walls. Before them was a locked door without any keyhole, with runic writing that stated, "Only a blind man can see the way forward." As they read that aloud, the walls started slowly moving closer and in time would crush the whole party. It was meant to be easy, at least in my head, as all they had to do was close their eyes and look through the door, where they would see a faint path forward. Well, instead, they decided to try and attack the walls. They attempted to block them in some way, and when that didn't work, they finally focused on the riddle itself. Their best idea was to permanently blind the druid with the reasoning, "Oh, it's fine, you can transform into something else and you'll see." You know what? I let them go with their plan, and the druid player was fine with it as well. Later on, they found a set of magical eyes. It was pretty funny when I told them all they had to do was close their eyes and concentrate. I had a frog-themed druid temple. The challenge was to prove you are a friend. The temple was covered in artwork of 2 frogs sharing a meal, with one frog literally passing flies to the other. They tried to talk to the head druid into helping them with an undead invasion for about an hour and a half before I started making them roll checks. All they really had to do was present a gift. Any gift would have done! I once had an encounter where there was a bunch of alchemical materials and items all around an enlarged alchemy jug. A demonic, poisonous gas was trying to break through the doors and suffocate the party. They were told by the owner of the tower that they had entered that in order to proceed, they'd have to guess the 3 materials needed to create an antitoxin that would save them. In the room, they were attacked by 3 animated armors that had hollowed out chest plates. Each armor held one of the correct ingredients. I even let the wizard make an intelligence check to eliminate some of the ingredients when they asked, and I kept describing how every hit they made jostled and rattled the vials inside the armor. Eventually, the monk just reached in, grabbed one of the ingredients, and threw it into the jug at the last second to make the antitoxin. The wizard player was very frustrated. I used someone else's sewer map so I wouldn't have to make my own. The party came to a T intersection. So, left or right? Well, they debated. Peeking around each corner, they saw that the right-hand path turned left a short distance away and that the left-hand path turned right a similar distance away. It was at this point they asked about differences. What could they hear? What could they smell? Were the marks on the walls meaningful in any manner? Was the muck in the gutters any different? So I gave reasonable answers about the minor variations one would expect to see from random variation, and tried to keep it sounding neutral. They sat there like Gandalf and Moria, trying to decide which way to go. After long deliberation and no clear reason to prefer one path over the other, they eventually relented and picked a direction at random, going left. They took that nearby right turn, then another right turn, and figured out that the two paths just diverged and reconnected, continuing on in their original direction of travel with literally no meaningful difference either way. 3 doors with no keyhole in a hallway, so they had to pass one to see the next. The first door was immune to everything except physical damage. The second was immune to all physical damage, and the third was a grated door immune to all damage that could only be opened by hitting a target on the other side with an arrow or something similar. They spent about 3 hours on it until someone finally just hit the first door with a mace. My group came up to the door of a goblin fort. I described, "You see a piece of paper on a wooden door that says, 'This is a granite security door. It is magically trapped, and you must solve the magic puzzle.' You see the hinges are made of gold." And I continued for 5 minutes describing the door. After I finished, they completely forgot it was a normal wooden door. It took them a while to figure out that they could just open the normal wooden door. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and of course, leave down in the comments below what's a very simple riddle that your players took way too long on. And if you'd like to support us further, please join our membership program. You don't have to, but it would be a great boon to us if you did. You do get early access to videos, maybe some more content later. We're working on that. With all that said and done, we do love you all. Please be safe, happy, and healthy, and we'll see you next time. Toodaloo for now.